us revisit this case study and let me conclude this. All MTech students are good at programming and research. The earlier one we concluded some MTech students are good at programming and research. Now we want to conclude all MTech students are good at programming and research. Can such a conclusion be made given this? So, because this is with respect to some and asking for all MTech students are good at programming and research may not be possible. Let's look for a counter example. So this represents set of MTech students. In that there exists a student who is good at programming. Okay. So some are good at programming. So that set is, let me call like this. Okay. And all those who are good at programming, they are also good at Carnatic music. That set is this. And all those who are good at Carnatic music, they are also good at research. So the idea is this: you have to come up with a Venn diagram. In case you are looking for a counter example, the Venn diagram should be in such a way that it captures the premise perfectly. We don't miss anything, and every statement in the premise is captured. However, conclusion does not follow. So it says all MTech students are good at programming and research. Here is a picture that represents the given premise. Some MTech students are good at programming, and all those who are good at programming are also good at Carnatic music. All those who are good at Carnatic music, they are also good at research. And if you pick elements from here, so these elements are what? These elements are such that they are not good at programming. So saying all MTech students are good at programming is false. Here is a counter example. So if you want to prove, then you have to establish a formal argument. If you want to disprove, you just need one counter example. That's enough. Let us look for this conclusion. Some MTech students are good at programming and Carnatic music and research. Can this conclusion be made given this? Let's carefully attempt one by one. So on existential instantiation, we get programming of A for some A. On universal instantiation, we get programming of A implies Carnatic music of A for any A. On universal instantiation of this, we get Carnatic music of A implies research of A for any A. For clarity purpose, let me call this one as 1, this one as 2, this one as 3. We know that P and note P and P implies Q implies Q. This is a tautology. So P and P implies Q gives you Carnatic music of A for some A, and this comes from 1 and 2. Fine. Then if you use 2 and 3, so P implies Q and Q implies R implies P implies R, which means we get programming of A implies research of A for some A. This follows from 2 and 3. Let me call this one as 4. If you look at 1 and 4, programming of A and programming of A implies research of A, we get research of A for some A. So 1 and 4 gives you this. Okay. Now this one, let me call it as 5, and this one let me call it as 6. Now you see that 1, 5, 6 gives you programming of A and Carnatic music of A and research of A for some A. Fine. Now you go for existential generalization. So from this we get this. When you perform existential generalization, we get there exists X, programming of X and Carnatic music of X and research of X. So when you perform existential generalization on this, we precisely get this. That's precisely what we want. Therefore, some MTech students are good at programming, Carnatic music and research is true and follows from the given premise. So this is the underlying essence. A logical argument like this can be converted into FOL, and subsequently its correctness can be verified by converting predicate logic to propositional logic, subsequently making use of well-known identities and implication in the process of simplification. So what we have seen so far is, given a logical argument that comes in the field of computer science in various domains, we want to establish the truth value of the argument. So the first thing is, one has to capture the underlying essence. So for that we go for first order logic. The mathematical abstraction given by or offered by first order logic is so nice that whatever is expressed in the natural language is completely without any ambiguity, with utmost perfection, it is expressed in FOL. Subsequently, we verify the validity or the truth value of the argument using the FOL framework, meaning converting predicate logic to proposition, using well-known identities and simplifying it. All that we have done. Now, in an argument like this, in a logical argument, ascertaining the truth value is a prime importance, and because the based on the truth value we may trigger an event, and based on the truth value we may initiate some other action. So the truth value plays a crucial role and in a paragraph or a compound statement. So what we have done in last couple of lectures is precisely trying to bring this framework to you, using which you can work in the abstract world. Now what we will do, having learned this first order logic, we shall start exploring other discrete structures, say such as relations, functions, graphs and so on, and we shall bring FOL wherever applicable and start proving arguments using this. We will also understand the limitations of FOL and what can be proved, what cannot be proved, and in the process we may discover some other proof techniques. We may focus on other sophisticated proof techniques using which the arguments that cannot be proved using FOL can be proved using that sophisticated mathematical proof technique. That's precisely our next focus. Let's get into that.